Look, I was brought here specifically asked to talk about Obamacare in relation to the issue of the sovereignty of Texas. Okay? Folks, if you haven't figured it out, I'm a Texan. And I'm super proud of it. I just got finished being one of those guys that was a casualty of the May 29th primaries. Thanks, James, for bringing that up. And, you know, one of the things that I hammered on a lot in the campaign was the issue of Texas sovereignty. Okay? Let's get some understandings out of the way real quick. Article 1, Section 1 of the Texas Constitution. Anybody here like the Constitution? Show of hands. Okay, we got some constitutionalists and others nice. Look, the Texas Constitution is a very unwieldy document for a state constitution, but you know what? By golly, it belongs to us. And at the very beginning is the Texas Bill of Rights. And the Texas Bill of Rights starts off, Article 1, Section 1, with the words, Texas is a free and independent state. Subject only to the United States Constitution, and the maintenance of our free institutions and the perpetuity of the Union depend on the right of local self-government unimpaired to all the states. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I feel impaired. This problem is a whole lot bigger than Obamacare, and I want everybody to understand that we are dealing in one of the most, this problem is symptomatic. I got being involved, and of course we talk about Radio Free Texas. I obviously am not interested in getting rich because I'm involved in the music business, and I'm obviously not involved in want to be popular because I'm involved in issues of Texas. So, but the bottom line is, I saw this, we had this musician. Anybody here heard of a guy named Doug Moreland? Saw that fiddle? There we go. We got one guy back here. Doug took the old story about the pigs and the free corn and putting up the gates and the fence and everything else and turned it into a song. And I got to hear Doug sing that this last weekend. And Doug is a Tea Party guy. Okay? He was one of the musicians insane enough to endorse my campaign. But the fact of the matter is that Doug has it right. Obamacare is one part of the fence that they've been putting up for a long time. Let's run it back to the previous week before the Supreme Court dealt us the death blow to the issue of freedom in the Constitution. Barack Obama stands up and unilaterally declares a blanket shadow amnesty for illegal aliens. This happened. Now remember, this is the illegal immigration promise costing the state of Texas $9 billion a year. Then what do? We get the Supreme Court shooting down Arizona's attempt to try to do something about the border, something that is a real and pressing issue for them, thereby stomping over their sovereignty to do what's best for the citizens of Arizona. Then the third side of the fence goes up with Obamacare. John Roberts comes out and issues this opinion along with the rest of the Supreme Court, and they declare not part of Obamacare okay, but the whole thing. The whole thing. An individual mandate. They declare okay. They say it's okay to force, excuse me, this court's killing me, folks. They say it is okay for the federal government to force me and you to buy a product. They say that it's okay to force the states to implement in exchange for certain types of insurance. And if the states don't agree to do it, they're going to force them to do it anyway. They're just going to go ahead and do it. And just like James said, they're going to reach right around the states and go straight to the healthcare providers to draw that money from. Folks, our right of local self-government has been impaired. The sovereignty of the state of Texas is what's at stake here. The rights and individual freedoms that we have are important here. I want just a show of hands, because this is really where we're all at, folks. A show of hands here. How many people believe that now the Supreme Court has declared Obamacare constitutional, that it actually is? So therefore, all of you who believe that it is unconstitutional, raise your hand. Well, folks, feel an awful lot like Travis at the Alamo on the 12th day. You got a choice. You got a choice. Are you going to comply with an unconstitutional law? Because realize that it's already been determined. It's already been said that this thing is violative of constitutional principles. The federal government has overstepped its bounds. And they are going to force you to violate your principles. And those things matter, folks. Do you believe that they matter?
Yeah.
Do you believe that freedom is important?
Yeah.
Do you believe that sovereignty is important? You got a choice, and I got to cut this thing short. 5 to 7 minutes, man. That's kind of tough. But you got a choice. Article 1, Section 2, you've heard it echoed all the way through this panel tonight. Article 1, Section 2 is very plain. That all political power is inherent in the people. Not in the politicians, not in the policies, not in the people who pay the politicians, but the people. The federal government has failed. The Supreme Court has failed in its duty to protect us from unconstitutional mandates. So guess who's next on the chopping block? Everybody look at James now. Jefferson said it best, that the state is the firewall between the federal government and the people. Now, the 83rd legislative session is coming up in January. And let me back up for a second. There was a bill that was floated in the 82nd legislative session by Representative Leo Berman that would have criminalized the imposition of Obamacare. It actually put criminal penalties on anyone who carried out Obamacare within the state of Texas. Wow. And it failed miserably. I don't even think they could get it out of committee. I mean, if you can't get a bill that says the TSA can't rope you out, if you can't get that passed, can you imagine only what criminalizing Obamacare will do? It didn't happen. Leo Berman went down in flames in the May 29th primary. An incumbent, a conservative incumbent who wanted to criminalize Obamacare, got shot down. We're going to go into the 83rd with a less conservative legislature, I believe, than what we had the last time. But it wasn't much to write about the last time around. So now, that firewall is us. All political power is inherent in the people. If you want to protect your rights and your sovereignty of your state, if you believe in Texas like I do, then you have got to mobilize. You have got to go out and let these politicos know what you want done. And I'm going to leave you with this before I hand this back over to Kevin, because I know he's got a joke just waiting. Either that or he's going to answer the question. So, Mr. Miller, are you wanting to secede from the union? But look at it like this. Anybody in here big fans of cow manure? I didn't think so. Look at Obamacare like this. They shoved the bill down your throat that said that every night you got to eat a big bowl of cow manure. So I want you to think about this. When you hear politicians and pundits and all these guys talk about, well, how are we going to deal with Obamacare? Replace that with bowl of cow manure. Folks, I don't want to eat cow manure. Don't give me a cookbook on cow manure. I don't want to hear the cookbooks from the politicians and the pundits. What I want them to say is, no, sir, you don't have to eat cow manure. Let's do this, folks. Protect Texas and let's stop the cow manure.